To my Hispanic and Latin community, people are really starting to question, who are you really aligned with? I'm Frank Ski, and I'm just frankly speaking. Recently, the rapper Plies went viral when he had a very interesting question for you all.
Hey, just real quick. But this to my Latino brothers and sisters that follow me on here. I'm trying to get y'all to educate me on something. I'm being dead ass serious. I ain't even being funny. I'm trying to see kind of what y'all feel. I'm trying to let y'all educate me on it, because I don't want to be viewing y'all the wrong way. So I'm trying to figure out, do y'all feel like y'all align more with black folk, or do y'all feel like y'all align more with Caucasian?
Okay, in case you can't tell, I am mixed. I'm the product of a black Puerto Rican father and an African American mom. When I was young, my grandmother used to raise me, my Puerto Rican grandmother, who didn't speak very much English. And when I used to date a black girl, guess what she used to call them? Cucarachas, meaning roaches. She didn't like black people too much. My father eventually married a white Cuban woman. And I was brought into this white Cuban family, very loving family, spending every Sunday dinner in Hialeah and Little Havana. And rarely, if any, I don't remember seeing any black Cubans. It wasn't until I was grown and went to Cuba and was like, damn, there's a lot of Africans here in Cuba. Matter of fact, I went to Brazil, Salvador Bahia. I was like, damn, there's a lot of Africans here. And all over the diaspora, Africans are everywhere. Here's the interesting part, though. Most Spanish-speaking countries don't relate to their other half. Guess what they want to be? The colonizers. Listen, every Spanish-speaking country on earth was colonized by Spain. White Spaniards. Matter of fact, down in Texas, James Tallarico beat Jasmine Crockett for that U.S. Senate seat. Who is he? A white boy from Texas. He got over 60% of the Latino vote in Texas. How does that happen? Most blacks would have thought y'all was related to us. Y'all got the same struggle we got. But y'all really want to relate to the white colonizers more than the people who were struggling like you? Why is that? I'm not here to judge. I'm just Frank Ski asking a question, and I'm just frankly speaking.
How you feel about Mexicans whenever they say the word
low-key? I think, it's valid.
Why do you think that is valid for Mexicans to say?
I don't know. We're the same, we're family, bro.
You think that we're the same as black folks?
Nah, I think we're better.
Whoa, shoot. Why you say we're better?
Because we are, bro.
Wait, why though? You gotta elaborate a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because, bro, we're Mexicans, bro.
Okay.
We're the shit, bro. Are we not?
A lot of Hispanic and Latino parents will literally try to teach you at a young age to not be friends with black people. And it's fucking disgusting. They show you racism, anti-blackness, like colorism at a fucking young age. You could be a dark-skinned Latino, and yet you will get a lot of fucking hate. Not only that, media will even fucking show that shit too. Where literally they show that white Latinos are literally rich, smart, educated, and they're always holy. But when it comes to black people or Afro-Latinos, they're ghetto, they're poor, uneducated, and...
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel once more. Today, we are talking about an important, sensitive topic, the relationship between some of people in Latino community and Black American. This is not about attacking the entire group of people. Every community has different opinion and different experience. The goal of this video is to encourage honest conversation about racism, colorism, history, and how people can build stronger relationships. We look at how history has shaped attitudes, why some harmful stereotypes still exist today, and why many people believe black and brown communities can achieve more when they stand together instead of being divided. So remember to watch till the end, and I'll be back with more comment all full credits goes to the original creator of this video.
Then it was probably meant for you.
Why is Latino culture racist? Well, I'll tell you. Welcome to the Latino paperback test. Now, it's literally designed by YT people from Spain, and they ingrained it into our brains. We had 100 extra years. The indigenous had 100 extra years of getting their behinds waxed, and the only way to get a leg up is by intermixing. So let me show you the hierarchy. Here you have Spaniards, and this is to show you too, that what I'm saying, that's what I'm discovering. That all Latinos are not the same race. We are not. We are not the same. Latinos, we must acknowledge this. We are not all the same race. We are not. Latino is a culture, a slave culture. Right? That's really what it is. You have the Spaniards up top from Europe. You got the children, the ones that were born in America. Then you have the mix, the European and the indigenous. Then you have the other mixes, right? And the more pure-blooded you are, the lower down the totem pole you are. And guess where Africans are? This is why you don't see nobody in Telemundo, Noticiero, etc. But it gets worse because you got these lapdogs over here, and I don't care who gets offended, the ones that indigenous that mix with European and want to act like they're YT, they became the gatekeepers and the lapdogs for these guys. So they started stomping on, and it benefits them to stomp on the rest of them. You know why? How I know this? Because now that I'm going back to El Salvador, for all y'all saying leave, as if the white team is gonna accept you all of a sudden, is that till this day, you got these guys, there's a sub-movement of these guys still trying to keep this caste like strong to keep oppressing the rest of them. Not all of us, but this is a thing, and it's disgusting. And if wherever you are, especially y'all in El Salvador, y'all believe like this, y'all disgust me. But see, this is the standard in Latin American countries. But what happens, like, when they come over, they bring that mentality over because nobody checks it, which is why I'm talking about it. For all y'all who watched my previous video and want to take a dump on me, all you're doing is reinforcing it. When you get all negative on me and talk about you don't care and everything else, all you're doing, like, listen, I don't need to talk about this. I could just let Latinos be racist and delusional. Like, it don't bother me none. I mean, it does, but they don't affect me directly. Like, I'm passable. Not that I'm proud of it, but it's just a fact. Like, I acknowledge that because of this sick system, I can move in certain ways where I can pass. I'm not accepted. I'm not delusional, but I can pass. But anyways, they bring it over here, and this is why you want your jobs and everything else and want to kick you out your jobs. Because it's these guys primarily. Like, these guys got issues at the bottom, the more pure bloods, they got issues and they be racist, and that's why Dominicans and Colombians and all anywhere where you got Afro-Latinos, they be like, me no black, me no black. It's because it's this. Literally, you could not associate, like, you in Latin America, now it's better nowadays, but it's still bad. Like, where it came from, like, you were literally at the bottom of society, bro. Like, the stuff that these people went through, our ancestors, like, it was a desperate, like, mission to mix in order to get up. And no, this isn't justification or whatever the heck y'all was saying in the previous video. Only reason I'm talking about this is because it's disgusting. And I see the plight of black people talking about, yo, like, we did all this, that, and the other for Latinos and the fighting for rights in America and everything else. Like, that's honorable. Like, yeah, that's messed up. Latinos being fake and whatnot. But I'm telling you, there's a whole, just like y'all got CIA implants and movements and sub-movements in y'all community, we got them in ours too. And I'm telling you right now, it's these guys. It's these guys right here. And one last thing. You could talk all the smack in my comments. You're just making it more about helping the algorithm. But on the other hand, you're just making them same ones that I was talking about go, you see, that's why mijo, no, you stupid, no, this is why we don't deal with them. That's all you're doing. You're just reinforcing the ignorance.
I'm genuinely confused on how some of y'all are surprised that it was a Hispanic, Latina, whatever the frick they want to be called, saying slurs. Like, I am being so for real when I say I've met more racist Latino people than I have white people. Like, they are the most racist group of people I know. Like, literally go look at my pinned video, bro. Every Latino person I know says the N-word, which is why I really don't care about the ICE stuff anymore because, like, I've never seen a more racist group, not even just to us, to white people, to Asian people, literally to everyone. And it's like, y'all aren't gonna get what's coming to you, but I really don't care. Like,
y'all seen that video of Latinos calling a black man a porch monkey? Check this out.
Fucking mouth laughing and shit.
I'm a what now? You say I'm a what now? Say it. Go ahead and say it now. Now you're on video. Say it. Oh, now you don't want to say it. You don't want to call me a nigga now. He don't want to call me a nigga now. You said listen to the what? He said listen to the porch monkey and go. Yeah.
This black man minding his business in the suburbs outside of Dallas, Texas. And this is how they talk to him. And you seen his response, he was still calm and peaceful. So that internalized racism is deep in there. And they also call black people changa, which is monkey. It's a racial derogatory word. And these racial slurs aren't something that they parroting from a white person. This is in their culture. They created this. Forget about black and brown unity. What about some respect? And look at the picture of him. He could have easily got out of his car and mollywopped one of them. And he could have took on both of them. But instead, he still used respect, even though he was being disrespected.
Can we just talk about the anti-blackness that exists in the Latino community? Because it's a real thing. And it is only further perpetuating the division between our two communities and contributing to the overall oppression of our two communities. And I know there's going to be some people out there that's like, that's not even a thing. That's not a real issue. But it is. I grew up hearing freaking racist remarks made towards black people. And I heard it often. And I know so many other people did. And not only is it about anti-blackness, it's also about internalized racism that some Latinos, including myself when I was a child, felt the need to be white because I saw white people being treated better. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm white, or if I consider myself white, or if I tell people that I'm white, then I am going to be treated better. I didn't understand as a child why I even felt that, but we are socialized as a society to want that unless you break out of the freaking matrix and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all being oppressed by the same freaking systems. So for us to have division and for there to be anti-blackness in our community is not helping anyone. One, it's just wrong. But two, it's only further perpetuating the oppression that already exists in our freaking society. So there's that part. And then there's this whole dismissal of Afro-Latinos because Afro-Latinos exist. Yet sometimes are classified as not Latino when in reality they are Latinos. Afro-Latinos. And then there's this whole freaking connection to where we find ourselves in American history, okay? And the fact that many people, many Latinos, Latino men in particular, did not want to vote for a black and Asian, but a black woman, okay? And then there's the intersection of machismo, internalized racism, anti-blackness, and all of it contributing, again, to the further perpetuation of oppression of our communities. That's what I need people to understand. When there's division between our two communities, that is purposeful, okay? Because these systems, these people in power want us to be infighting, when in reality, there's a lot more that we have in common. We are also being oppressed by the same systems. We should be supporting each other. And it is because of black people and their advocacy that we, as Latinos and other communities, have the civil rights that we have today. The ability for us to even be able to have that privilege was in large due part to black people, okay? So I need us to understand that. And I need us to have a conversation about that, because even if we were brought up that way, that doesn't mean that we can't change. That doesn't mean that we can't do better, because we can. Okay? Even if society socializes us to believe that, we can change, we can do better. So if you want to have this conversation, follow for more.
Latino and anti-blackness is stronger here in the United States than in Latin America. That's what I've been navigating through since this comment came up, and I've been trying to answer it. Because it's simple to answer it, but in order to change the dynamics, you have to get through much more than the surface level answers. And the truth is that in Latin America, anti-blackness comes from even anti-indigenous sentiments, which is shade, right? Wanting to better the race by keeping it pure in regards to light skin, right? That's problematic. That's a whole different videos, but it's not necessarily because someone is black, as in the culture. It is because of the shade. So you can be black and be albino and be alright. You can be black and be light skin and be alright. If you're black and you're actually black, as in skin tone, that's where the hostilities become, right? If you're Latino, but you're much more indigenous, that's where the hostilities become, right? This is very important to understand because what it tells us is that here in the United States, this colorism takes a new life of its own because of the already existing rhetoric against black people in regards to the sentiments from slavery and so on that creates white supremacy and the hierarchy of racial purities. Here, instead of the different shades coming together, instead of the different groups coming together and uniting as its own national identity, American, what you have are the different groups competing for the approval of white people. Because when we talk about a stereotype like black people are lazy, what I was born and learned through my dad, who's immigrant, Mexican, got his citizenship and everything, but he would give me rhetoric that sounded not anti-black, anti-American. That's the first time that I would ever be like, well, I didn't immigrate to the United States. You immigrated to the United States. Blame yourself. Because his understanding or his belief, and plenty of immigrant parents' belief, is that once you get children to the United States, we get lazy. So it's not that black people are lazy, it's also that white people are lazy, because I've been told that. Yet, the only problem is if black people are lazy. So what that tells us is that if a anti-black dad, Latino, would rather you date a poor white man than a rich black man, it tells you that the problem is in the culture. The problem isn't that someone is lazy, that someone steals, that someone is loud. The problem is the skin tone, because that's something that you cannot hide, right? That's something that people will see. So I guess the good thing is that Latinos do not dislike black culture. We very much appreciate it, we love it, and we are influenced by it. But subconsciously, so this isn't something that people will be able to vocalize up front. What is disliked is an extension from Latin America, so colorism, right? The darker you are, the more hostilities, but also an influence from the American perception of anti-blackness that doesn't necessarily stem from the color, right? But it stems from the culture, from dehumanizing the people as a whole. When you see a homeless white person, you'll think, well, they're probably a veteran or they landed on rough times. When you see a homeless black person, you'll think, well, you know, substance. So empathy is given to the problematics of whiteness, but it's not given to blackness. What makes anti-blackness successful to the extent that it is in the United States are four things that Latinos don't realize have an influence on us. One is survival. Think of all the groups except for white people having to compete for the acceptance of white people. Let's say American Idol. All the judges are just white. And all the cultures have to be like, why are we closer to you? Why should we get equal rights like you, equal treatment? And that requires us saying, well, we are different than this group because of XYZ. So things that you wouldn't have noticed before, you'll notice because you want to dehumanize them, right? If you want to dehumanize me, maybe you'll say, well, this fool, he has a neck beard. You shouldn't take him seriously. So when you already have that hostility, you just find little things that maybe aren't even a problem, but you will amplify it just because it makes you feel better. And again, this is done subconsciously. So if you ask Latinos, they probably won't be able to vocalize it like this. But the first reason that I came up with is survival, which is just that, right? You have to survive, which means that you have to compete for who is the closest to whiteness. And in that reality, it creates hostilities of differences and things that probably unite us. I remember growing up and listening to Art LeBeau, a bunch of black influence there from oldies. I have pure memories of my brothers ironing their clothes to Art LeBeau, to black voices, not Spanish-speaking voices. They had some Smokey Robinson. So to survive, we've been taught that you have to throw the other one off the cliff, metaphorically. Two is overcompensation, because Latinos have always struggled with not feeling enough of either. We don't feel enough of the Latino community, but we also don't feel enough of American, right? So on the Latino community, enough is to be the lighter, the better, right? Because then the community will talk shit. So you don't want to be the odd one out. But here in the United States, to survive, you have to be closer to whiteness. So you either have Latinos like in Texas who want to be closer to whiteness, or Latinos like in California who the anti-blackness may come much more from colorism from Latin America. Because they want to say, we're pure Latinos, right? We're not going to mix with these people. But that's when we have to have the conversation that we had earlier, because if you're okay with a white man who does the same thing that you argue your family members shouldn't date a black man for, then the problem wasn't those actions, it was the color. So to prove either that you're Latino enough or to prove that you're American enough, because American doesn't equate to the diversity that we actually have, but seeking approval whiteness, then through survival, you will start to push others out so that you're the sole winner of whatever competition this is. And really, that was why, 43% of Latinos voted for Donald Trump, because when we look at the Voting Rights Act, some Latinos may have thought that that was a black people law, right? But the thing is that black people law also benefited us all, including Latinos, but they couldn't see that because they can't think that far advance. The third moves us to tribalism, which is what I just said, right? Because you're like, well, they are different and we are we, so you shouldn't date them because they're different. But it's much more like tribalism and much less of just race or like color or like group dynamics. It's like when you grow up around a gang. Like, I didn't wear red until I was in my 20s. I wasn't a gangster, but I had family who were really involved. And I was banned from wearing it until I was in my 20s. Well, technically, I could have worn it before because I left South Central at 17. But you forget because you grew up so much that you couldn't wear red. And red is my favorite color. So at one point, I was in London and I thought to myself, I'm like in my 20s. How am I still under these rules of when I was growing up in South Central that I cannot wear red? So it becomes a pride thing to be different than the other side. And it becomes dishonor to mess around with the other side. And the fourth one is favoritism, which makes less sense to black people, but really what it touches on is the belief of some Latinos that black people had things handed to them, which is false, right? But this is the belief. And yet you still see a lot of people who didn't take advantage of those opportunities, which is a misunderstanding of black culture and a misunderstanding of the trauma that has impacted through generations of black people. So one thinks these people deserve to be, let's say, police brutality because all you had to do was follow laws. But now we understand under ICE that you can follow laws and you'll still get violated, right? But it's because there's Latinos who didn't include themselves within the benefits of what black pain created, like the Voting Rights Act. And it's because we see restorative justice, we see rectifying of wrongdoings of the past as favoritism. Let me give you an example. When I went to Romania, I went to Brasov, and I went to this village of gypsies, or Romani, because some people say it's offensive to say the G word. And the connotation around the Romani is that they're lazy and they don't want to find a job. Does that remind you of anything? And when I got there was one bus stop and it only stopped there one time in the morning. So even if you did get a job, how do you come back? You don't got that money because you have generational poverty. So they're making it so easy for you to fit the stereotype. And that's what happens where laws and policies exist that restrict you. So now you are fitting a stereotype because that's what the society, as in the government, as in the country, has forced you into those decisions. So making the bus stop there longer than one time will probably be seen as favoritism when in fact it is rectification.
So guys, to understand this topic, we first have to look at history. Many countries in Latino America were ruled by Europe, colonial powers, hundreds of years ago. During that time, people were often treated differently based on their color of their skin. Those with light skin usually had more power and more opportunity, while people with African or indigenous ancestry were often pushed to the bottom of the society. Although those colonial systems ended long ago, many people believe some of those ideas continues through generations. This is one of the reasons why conversation about racism still exists today. Colorism is a different, it is different from racism. Colorism simply means treating people differently because of the how light or dark their color skin is. Even within the same ethnic group, many people have shared stories of being treated better or worse because of their skin tone. Another issue discussed is the idea that some people try to get closer to what society considers in as white. People, they believe it brings more acceptance or better opportunities. Some experts say this has been influenced by history and social pressure. At the same time, it is important to remember that Latino communities are very diverse. They include people of Europe, African indigenous, Asian, and mixed background. It would not be fair to say that everyone thinks the same way or has the same belief. Then the video also talks about stereotypes aimed at the Black American. Stereotypes are dangerous because they judge people before getting to know them. They can create fear, misunderstanding, and division. Many of these stereotypes have existed for generations and are often repeated without people questioning whether they are or truth. History tells a different story. During a civil rights movement, Black Americans fought for equal rights and giant discrimination. Again, equal rights and against discrimination. Those struggles help create groups of American today. The fight for equal treatment opened doors not only for Black Americans, but also for many other communities seeking fairness and justice. This is why many people urge that learning history is important. When people understand the sacrifice made in the past, they may have a greater appreciation for those who worked to expand civil rights. The video also raises the question of unity. The phrase black and brown unity is often used to describe cooperation between Black America and Latino communities. Many believe these groups face some similar challenges, including discrimination, economy inequality, and unequal access to opportunity. However, until however, unity cannot happen if the prejudice and mistrust continue to either side. Building stronger relationships starts with honest conversation. It means listening to different experiences, changing stereotypes, and recognizing that every community has problems that should be addressed. It also means understanding that no community is perfect. Racism is prejudicial, can exist in many places, and everyone has a responsibility to confront them instead of ignoring them. Education plays a big role. When people learn more about history, culture, and experience of others, they are less likely to believe harmful myths. Schools, families, community leaders, and social media all influence how people see one another. Instead of repeating negative stereotypes, people are choose respect, understand, and open dialogue. Social media has also made this conversation much bigger. Videos and online debates often focus on conflict because conflict gets attention. But really life is much more complicated. Millions of Americans and Latinos work together, live together, build businesses together, and support one another every day. Those positive stories often received much less attention than the arguments. The future depends on whether communities choose division or cooperation. If people continue to judge each other based on stereotype, the same problem will continue. But if people are willing to listen, learn, and respect one another, stronger relationship can be built. The purpose of discussion, like discussing these difficult topics, should not create more anger. It should be encouraged. It should be encouraged understanding, accountability, and positive change. In the end of the day, in the end of the day, in the end, every person should be judged by their character, their action, and how they treat others, not by stereotype, race, or skin color. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this discussion thoughtful, let me know on the comment section. Remember to keep this conversation civil. Like this video, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more discussion, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.